my fabric, yeah, right side up, also the block right side up, yeah, and we check if you want the grain line here. We have the center front, so you can let's take a marker in this way. This is the grain line. Yeah, so you can put your fabric, your block, your pattern block according to the grain line of the fabric, a parallel line, because it's one single piece, so we go like this. Okay. We start pinning, and seam allowance, we add only 5 millimeters on the zigzag line. On the center back and on the waist, we already have seam allowance. Yeah, we already have 1 centimeter seam allowance, so we don't put anymore because we have the XXX. Yeah, so we add seam allowance only on the zigzag line. Okay, I won't use this because it's absorbing the color, my fabric, so I will use a chalk or a pencil, depending on what you have there. I think the pencil is good. It's time to pin, or you can use some ways. Yeah, I have here this, you already know, but I like more working with pins. It stays the fabric in the right position. And I start from the center front because I have to follow the grain line, yeah, the grain line which is parallel with my edge of the fabric. And from here left, from here right, up and down, in order to be sure it stays well. Just go step by step, yeah? Don't control, don't put the pin here or here. Let it go at once. In this way. Don't try to force the block in any way, yeah, because it falls natural, so we should follow the shape, how it goes, yeah. And now I will mark the corners, all the corners, in and out corners, which are very important. And of course here perpendicular, and we put 5 millimeters seam allowance. If it's a sharp corner, you don't have to extend it. You know, from the main corner with the seam allowance, we keep 5 millimeters, exactly the seam allowance, our seam allowance. And we go. Don't forget about the notches. If you can, write it down, yeah, the number on the seam allowance. again corner, so I keep 5 millimeters. Yeah, so I cut like this because I don't need the extended corner. Yeah, in the end anyway, if you let it, in the end you are going to trim it away in order to avoid the thickness of it. Yeah. Here is 3. Here we have 4. Okay. And here, because we have the seam allowance on the moulage, yeah, we don't need to put anymore. Yeah, we do the same as in the other part. 90 degrees, yeah, perpendicular on our style line. Okay, check again. Here is 5. Check again all the corners, yeah, to have them pointed, and then check again all the notches. Yeah, take it all around and check it here also. I don't mark it on the waist because I'll use the cutter. Here I don't need the seam allowance, only inside. And here we have all around the notches. Okay, now I will take my rotary cutter and I will start cutting it. I keep the white fabric for the facing, yeah, because in the end, when we start with finishing details, I will connect a classical facing, yeah, inside. So the white one should connect on the waist. What fabric you have here on the yoke, you need to double it inside, yeah, with the facing, with matching color, yeah, not to have another one, but depending on you, depending on your design, maybe you want to play with the patterns, yeah. So the standard normal, you should have a connecting facing, matching color with the yoke you have, with the part that you have on front of your skirt, right side of your skirt. Here 90 degrees, yeah, in this way, and then like this. Okay, I will take my scissors and I will snip the notches, so not with the rotary cutter because I don't want to go too much. Only the notches, we don't touch the corners, yeah. Later, after we stitch one side, yeah, we have one seam, we cut on the bisectrice, then we continue, but not now. And normally once you have corners, it's better to have small pieces of interfacing, yeah, on each corner, inside corner, not outside. Outside we don't need it. What inside? We have to cut a small piece of interfacing, but this depending also on the texture of your fabric. If it's too transparent, of course you don't use it. Yeah, it's important to pay attention how you cut. Yeah, check if the fabric is going to have that raw edge, and you don't want to see it in the right side once you cut. Yeah, because we need to cut exactly until the stitch, so you need to check. For example, here I can try having a square shape or a round shape on each corner, inside corner. Yeah, every time inside. Also on the other part, yeah, we have here inside corner, here, here, because these corners we are going to cut, not the top like the mountain. Yeah, here the valley, again think about the curves, the valley we snip the same, the valley of the corners. Yeah, okay, so I finish here with the notches and the center front. The center front, if you want, you can cut also the sides in order to have a better fit with your facing. Yeah, the side, the center front, the side here. Okay, all the notches are ready. You can keep 1-2 pins inside and the rest you can take it out. I will keep my block until I start with the first. Now again, it's easy to connect, to make the insertion with the second part, but once you have many pieces, you don't know where to start from. But here you have only one line. Yeah, if you start from here, it's obvious that you are going to start with this, because they will be on the right side up, with the right side up both, and you know you don't need the pattern block. But if you have many pieces, of course you need to keep the pattern block with your fabric. Yeah, you keep them connected in order to match them well once you start sewing them, connecting them. Okay, I finish with this, and let's continue with the bottom part. So we have one layer right side up. We check to see if we have any issues on our fabric, if it's dirty or something bad on it, to avoid it. Okay, let's put this away. Good. Let's open also the block with the right side up. Yeah, and again we have the center front. Let's see, I will put the side because I didn't mark it. I'll connect the side with side here on the hem and on the yoke connection. And this is my grain line. Yeah, the center front. Anyway, it's like a rectangle shape starting from the hips point. It's a rectangle shape. Yeah, so this part, sometimes I'm folding it until here because I can see on my fabric which is the grain line. So in order to avoid having it on oblique line, I can, yeah, once it's folded, I can follow exactly to be parallel with my grain line, because sometimes you can see it. Yeah, you can check. So it's okay. I don't need the seam allowance there down. Only if you want to extend the length of your skirt, you can do it longer, but I think it's enough. It's about 60 centimeters if I remember well. Until the knees, it's a good shape. If you want, just put some weights or pin. And I will start from one part. Yeah, I put it down. Okay. Up and down, yes. I put it here, I can put it down all around in this way, then so if you have symmetry, you don't have to extend on full, yeah, on one layer. You can fold your fabric and just put a center front on fold line. But because we have a symmetric shape, yeah, it's mandatory to do this. Otherwise, because we don't have symmetry here, we have it asymmetrical. And every time, yeah, to be a rule, once you have a symmetric shape, you cut the fabric on right side up, yeah, because maybe you have a customer that she wants a special style line on left part, and if you put it on the wrong side of your fabric, it will be in the mirror, yeah, so the shape will be on the right side, but she wanted on the left side. So to avoid this kind of issues, it's better to keep it exactly how you drew it, yeah, how you drew the lines. This is how you are going to do it. Okay, all here, hem, center back, the vent, we don't have seam allowance, but on the zigzag line, we need 5 millimeter seam allowance, exactly how we attach it on the yoke, yeah? And let's mark it. First, I will start cutting because I don't need here. Yeah, I don't need the seam allowance. And once I reach this area, I will put 5 millimeters. Okay, and also the hem. And now on the zigzag. You better take a chalk or a pen. Let's see, mark the corners, in and out. Yeah. Now 5 millimeter seam allowance. And in the end, the notches, yeah. Perpendicular, and it's time to cut it out. I'll turn it like this to be easy for me to cut. Okay, the green, I don't need it anymore. I will double it with the lining here, and normally white or light green lining, yeah. but this on the last part of our module we'll discuss about it more. Okay, now the notches, yeah? The notches, I have the side, I don't need it, but for your safety, if you want, maybe you are going to need it to connect the lining. Sometimes we connect, not in our case now, but sometimes we connect the lining with the skirts, with our garment. We have the hip point here. It's really important, this one, because from this point we start attaching our zipper, and we need to connect it very well, and all the notches all around, try to mark it, to snip it, to cut, not the corners, yeah? The corners later. And the second hip knot, yeah? Oh. Finish with this. Now we cut our fabrics, we take out our pins, and then we go to the next lesson to see how we connect our notches, yeah?